Translator's note. The Sanskrit version of words like karma and dharma are prevalent in Buddhism's English narrative today. However, the Theravada tradition uses Bali, so those familiar Sanskrit words will take on slightly different spellings in some cases, such as kama and dhamma. Additionally, there are differences in meaning highlighted by instances when Dhamma is capitalized or not. In its uppercase form, Dhamma means the Buddha's teachings, while its lowercase form refers to the laws of nature, the truth about the way things are, or mental objects. As is common in any language, Bali words can take on different meanings depending on their context. For example, Paññā mainly translates to wisdom, but can also denote examination, analysis, thought, reasoning, discernment, or intuitive insight. Avijja and moha mean ignorance and delusion, respectively. When translated into Thai as long, the definitions of avijja and moha expand and take on more descriptive definitions that may aid the reader in understanding what ignorance and delusion mean in Dhamma. Lost, stray, disoriented, enraptured, spellbound, captivated, obsessed, intoxicated, stupid, and of course, delusional and ignorant. Avijja and moha mean not knowing or not seeing things as they are in reality. It is believing a lie or fantasy and not knowing the truth. The widespread practice of silent sitting meditation that is the face of Buddhism today is commonly referred to as samadhi. However, the original Bali term doesn't only come in the tranquil version. Samadhi translates to concentration or unification of the mind. Calm, serene meditation is only one of many incarnations of concentration. In this text, meditation will primarily be used to refer to the contemporary connotation of samadhi, sitting or tranquil meditation, and not the denotation of the word, contemplation or deep reflection. Buddhist teachers and texts, including this one, frequently mention kilesa and tanha. But what exactly are they? Tanha is desire. Kilesa literally translates as torment of the mind, but is more commonly translated as defilement or mental impurity. Defilements are the things, the representations, or the embodiments of desire. For instance, expensive cars, the latest and greatest gadgets, brand name clothing, or a large house in an affluent neighborhood are all defilements associated with the desire to be rich. Like desires, defilements are limitless. Luang Por Thoon often refers to defilements and desires as deceiving us and leading us to be reborn within this world. Asava is sometimes mentioned alongside kilesa and tanha, but tends to take on more prominence shortly prior to one's attaining full enlightenment, when one realizes that all asava will be destroyed. Asava is commonly defined as canker, taint, or mental intoxication. In a practical sense, when kilesa and tanha come together, asava results. For instance, brand name items are the defilements, kilesa, connected to the desire, tanha, to be well known in society. Once you procure those items, you attribute your acceptance and popularity to owning them. Or if you don't procure them, you attribute your lack of acceptance and lack of popularity to not owning them. Either way, the impression or bias gained from that permanent view is called asava. Asavas intoxicate the mind, leading you to see things sideways and get caught up in illogical, senseless notions. Jnana and dasana are important concepts in Luang Por Thoon's teachings. Jnana is knowing or understanding. Dasana is seeing or realizing. For instance, the Buddha taught that birth, aging, sickness, and death are normal. So, we know that aging is normal. Every day, we see actual evidence of how we have aged. Wrinkles, white hairs, loss of strength and flexibility, and how things around us age. Toothbrushes fraying, clothes wearing thin, vegetables wilting, food going stale. However, if you don't fuse the theory that you know with the reality that you see, you won't be able to profoundly penetrate the truth about aging. Once you do connect them, you will both understand and realize the indisputable truth about aging. It is impermanent, it causes suffering, it isn't who we are and it doesn't belong to us, and it is normal. This is the knowing and seeing that Luang Por Thoon frequently refers to throughout this text. In Thai, aramana denotes mood, emotion, or temper. In Bali, aramana denotes an object, sense object, preoccupation, or focus of the mind at a given moment. Aramana is basically the sense object, or what happens when the internal sense bases, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, interact with the external sense bases, form, sound, scent, taste, touch. Once the interaction occurs, there are 3 types of preoccupations. 1. Pleasing, ittaramana. 2. Displeasing, anittaramana. And 3. Indifferent, neither pleasing nor displeasing, ubekha aramana. When the pleasing aramana occurs, you repeat it in order to hold on to it. When the displeasing aramana occurs, you try to push it away to get rid of it. When you don't feel completely fulfilled about something because it isn't clearly pleasing or clearly displeasing, it becomes a lingering, unresolved aramana. This is referred to elsewhere as a neutral aramana. The residue of these 3 types of preoccupations or objects, aramana, that you hold on to, are called mind objects, Dhammaramana. Pleasing aramanas, ittaramana, lead to desire for existence, bhava tanha. Displeasing aramanas, anittaramana, lead to desire for non-existence, vibhava tanha. And indifferent aramanas, ubekha aramana, lead to ignorance, avijja. Samuti is a term found in both Bali and Thai. In Thai, samuti means pretend, assume, suppose, or not real. It is translated from Bali into English as general opinion, consent, construct, convention, supposition, or anything that is conjured into being by the mind. It is labeling things so that they can be referred to, and then coming to perceive those things in terms of those labels. For instance, mother, in a technical and objective sense, is the physical being that provides an egg. But mother has been expanded to include common cultural norms, one who loves, nurtures, and raises you, one who stays at home, cooks, and cleans, one who sacrifices her life for her child. And once you buy into these conventional characterizations and begin to expect mother to be a certain way, suffering arises when a mother doesn't raise her own child, a mother is abusive and neglectful, a mother doesn't fit into the homemaker mold, or when it is the child who sacrifices for the mother. These labels, constructs, and conventional realities are the samuti that make up the world as we know it. That is why Luang Por Thoon refers to this world as the Maha Samuti, or Great Samuti. Punya is translated as merit or meritorious action. But for those who didn't grow up in a Buddhist culture, what does that even mean? Making merit can be a virtuous deed that is tangible, like donating goods to a respectable temple or building a pagoda to honor the Buddha. It can also be intangible, like observing the precepts or dedicatedly practicing Dhamma. Its cousin kusala is translated as wholesome, skillful, or clever. Luang Por Thoon has explained in Q&A sessions that kusala is wisdom, paññā, and kusala comes before punya. Kusala is the wisdom to seek and recognize opportunities to make merit in a way that leads to heaven or enlightenment. Commonly referred to together, punya kusala basically represents something good or good karma. Their counterpart, pāpa, is translated as demerit or evil. Like punya, pāpa can be tangible, like stealing something, or intangible, like disrespecting a teacher. In other words, it refers to something bad or bad karma. Buddhists are encouraged to cultivate punya and abstain from pāpa, as we will have to account for all of our actions, both good and bad. Navigating naming conventions can be confusing, as there are many ways of referring to a single individual. When Thoon Nonrucha ordained, he was given a Dhamma name reflecting his lightning-fast wisdom, Khippapañño. Venerable Ācariya Thoon Khippapañño is his full formal monk name, while Luang Por Thoon, or simply Luang Por, is the familiar name his students call him. Ācariya is the Bali word for teacher, or achan in Thai, that is typically used for monks who have been ordained for at least 10 rains retreats. Kruba is a Thai term for teacher that is used to address junior monks in the northeastern regions of Thailand. Pra, which means monk in Thai, is used like the venerable prefix to a monk's name, Pra Achan Thoon, or simply Pra Achan. In Thai, Luang means honorable or venerable. Pi means elder sibling. Pa means father. And Pu and Ta mean paternal grandfather and maternal grandfather, respectively. As for Thai naming conventions for places, Ban is the Thai term for village. So, for example, Champa village would be referred to as Ban Champa. Wat means temple, and Pa means forest, so the forest temple at Champa village would be named Wat Pa Ban Champa, while the temple at Nong Wang village would be named Wat Ban Nong Wang. The Thai language does not require pronouns or subjects. For instance, I want to see you can also be stated as want to see. Perhaps it is because enlightened individuals have destroyed the sense of identity, atta, that they characteristically communicate in this indirect, objective manner. Their sentences are more like general statements about a situation instead of the actual individual in that situation. Unanchored by pronouns or subjects, these sentences tend to float and can be interpreted a number of ways. Having known Luang Por Thoon personally, and having translated his sermons and books, I feel that he is very particular and precise when it comes to word choice and word order. I have also found that his sentences can take on different meanings when I revisit them after a slight change in perspective. Because of this, I have made every effort to maintain the integrity of Luang Por's writing style, especially in sections with Dhamma teachings. Sometimes a sentence might feel more natural written in a more common way, but oftentimes the slight awkwardness can compel you to really think about the difference in emphasis or meaning. For example, consider phrases like, "The ghost caused many people to die," versus, "The ghost killed many people," or "Internal elements and external elements," versus "Internal and external elements," or "The mind knows and sees," versus "My mind knows and sees."